not the master Call of Duty player, but
Well,
I'm
neither am
ready
I.
to
So
show the world my performance.
we're gonna ride the coattails of whoever we can. Okay, Greg Adler, director, coach, UT Dallas. Great freaking program. Really cool logo and colors. That was
Thank you,
not your
appreciate it.
doing, but you still get credit for it anyway. Okay, first game that you ever remember playing that you got in trouble for playing it too long when you were like really little, like that you were just
Ooh,
hooked.
that's a good question. I think it would probably have to be the original Super Mario for the SNES,
Yeah,
mainly because that was really the first game I ever played, but that was the first game that I also played with my dad because it had two-player in it.
yeah.
So I remember playing levels with him, and then he'd be done, and I'd still be playing when he'd be done afterwards. So yeah, definitely one of my very first memories is always being a Nintendo fanboy from the very beginning.
If you're getting called to dinner and you're like, I can't. Oh, hold on. I mean, although it had a pause. Diddle-diddle.
True,
Right?
true.
It had a pause. Very, very cool. How long have you been at your current post? I know, but let's tell the people.
Sure. This is the just concluded year two now. So going into year three coming up here in the fall.
Cool. Do you ever walk around campus and kind of giggle that this is your job?
Oh, all the time, and I think it's not something that really hits home until you start to go to more and more events, and it's kind of a event based thing where you start to recognize like, wow, this is really what I'm doing for my career. Like this is really kind of my founding in a lot of ways. So, but definitely a lot of walking around campus and getting getting all of it as much as I can for sure.
That I'll tell you what, that is totally normal. If you're doing something that you love, you're shocked from time to time that people allow you to do it and they pay you for it. They never pay you
Yes,
enough, but
yes.
they do pay you for it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes, very true. Very, very, very thankful for that aspect.
Well, a lot of college directors have confirmed to me that they have that feeling too. It's hard work, right? I mean, you're doing tons
Sure.
of advocacy all the time. You're advocating for your program, your players individually. Sometimes when they misstep or when they're struggling through things, you're advocating for them. But in the end, you play video games for a living.
True. That is definitely definitely the core of it. We wouldn't be anywhere if I didn't even play video games at all. So I wouldn't even be in this position in the first place. That's for sure.
That's very, very true. Okay, so we're gonna play some Warzone. We got a party up here, so I'll build that party.
All right.
And while I accepted it. Oh, quick invite. There we go. Ah, there you are. So help us understand where the Gurge comes from.
Sure. Oh boy, this is a story. So
Hold on.
it's
I'll I'll
it's kind of
I'll
a
I'll fold my arms
okay.
like Dr. Phil. Right? Well,
It's it's
where did it come from?
rooted not even that interesting. So it's actually a really interesting story of where my names in general come from. So before this name, I used to be El Ginge, which was Elging, because I'm a ginger, and that was what my friend suggested to me. But people would constantly pronounce it as El Ging, so I was like, no, that's I don't want to be El Ging. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So I was always looking for a new name, and when I was in college, I had a bunch of my friends that insisted on calling me Gerg Erdler because my name was Greg Adler.
Gurgler? Right, right.
The Gerg aspect of it kind of just stuck, and then the seven is just my lucky number, so I kind of just
Yeah.
threw it on top of there.
From
But
evidence from the Ermagerd meme, the Gerst Burps, right?
that's it. That's it. Yeah, and it, and
Awesome.
it, and it just kind of stuck. Yeah, or it stuck. Friends kind of have always been, really the big reason I game for the most part, and so kind of figured, connecting what my friends call me to what my actual game name is, I thought would be pretty cool.
Well, so here's an interesting one. So you are now a leader of young men and women in your program and an organizer. You're the old man in the room now.
That is true.
You used to be cool, and then you're in charge of
Well, I don't
people,
know
and now
about that.
and now
I
you're
don't
not
know.
cool
Me and
anymore.
cool were never synonymous with each other.
That is that is kind of the way it flows sometimes.
Check your gear and weapons.
I don't know. You were cool with your friends, of course.
They kept me around for the laughs. No,
That's
it definitely feels way different. That's for sure.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Okay, so we are flying now, and we'll start picking up some comments, some questions. If there's anything you want to know, we are most likely gonna answer honestly with stuff. So let us know if there are any questions in the chat. We'll bring it up on screen here. Okay. As you've been in your position, I mean, this is not really necessarily an interview show, but it's kind of like we're playing video games on Hot Ones, where you have to answer some stuff at the same time. It's good, it's a good chance for us to talk. I think you and I talked originally. We were like, oh, let's podcast something, and let's, I wanted to bring in a bunch of people that are good at what they do, and you're good at what you do, to just talk about what we do, right? And you're doing it tonight with the Discord chat. Where'd that idea come from to pull in Deppy and and AJ and Melcher, and I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? Oh,
Dan.
Dan.
Battle
Yeah.
Royale.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is kind of rooted in a couple of different aspects. Number one, I've always been very big on being able to provide as many resources as I can, especially free resources to just community as a whole, because I think collegiate esports is so.
I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, no problem. I think because just collegiate esports is so new as a whole, and it's such a developing field, I think having as many just resources that are available, it makes a really big difference in the long run. And then specifically the competitive aspect of it, I think it's something a lot of times, at least from what I've been hearing, is people always are highlighting, okay, the competitive aspect is great, but what about all the community things? What about all the social things, which are also super important? But I think because of that, we often forget about the competitive, and we forget about what it takes to actually field and create competitive, long-lasting programs, especially comparatively to basketball, collegiate basketball. If you want to know how to form a competitive program, you're going to go, ask UCLA and be like, well, what did you do? What worked for you? And so I think being able to create those conversations
What? You're
and
down
just those
already?
discussions. I did. I totally forgot to cut my parachute at the
Oh
very
man,
end. I
I'm
cut a bit
bailing
too
you
short.
out from the start. Never forget this. That I was.
It's my apex ways showing over. But yeah, I figured it was just a really great opportunity to bring in some knowledgeable people in the scene to talk about something that, I mean, all collegiate programs have in common, which is, trying to field as competitive as teams as they can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and while we're not generally judged yet by our wins and losses, that's probably going to be a thing. I mean, we haven't had many directors or coaches lose their position because of lack of wins, but that's going to happen eventually in our field, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the reality is, we're kind of in a situation where winning teams, especially at the higher level, will get more notoriety, which to university administration, that's really what speaks to them, is kind of being able to use esports as a platform to get their university out on a national level. So I think at least being able to recognize that the attempts are being made to form as competitive as a team as possible is just super important.
Got some body armor here.
Here's some plates. I'm going to load up on the plates for us here. I'm going to buy another one so you're full. Let's go grab those.
Got some body armor here.
I would definitely say my battle royale skills are in the world of Apex.
Are they?
I've played a lot of COD in my days.
Okay, describe the first conversation that you had with students when they approached you and were like, hey, are we going to have a varsity scholarship to Apex team?
Oh, man, battle royales are one of those things that I just wish could take off. One thing, like Fortnite specifically, is just so massively big, but it's just such a hard game to have on a competitive level because it's hard for spectators to watch. There's a lot of different levels of it. But one thing I thought was interesting is a format of Fortnite. What they do is they have you go out in a squad of 4 but it's 2 and 2. So you'll be in the same squad as the opposing team you're playing against.
Yeah.
But the goal is that you and your partner within that squad of 4 are trying to get as more kills than the other 2 in your party.
So you're kind of working together,
yeah.
but you're kind of competing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you essentially will never face each other head to head, but you're still in the same lobbies playing against the same people, so that you don't have to worry about getting harder opponents or whatnot.
Objective update.
Yeah.
Secure that position.
That is an interesting one. You know, the hard part about all that is telling the story, right? Someone's been here. Did you come here?
I did not.
Someone has been here. They may still be here. Well, I don't have a heart rate sensor or anything cool like that, so.
There's a helicopter over there.
Enemy
Okay.
dropping
Little
into
bit
the
out,
AO.
Oh, there's a guy right here.
Oh, where you got?
Oh, he's low.
Get to the safe zone.
In
Let's
the
go.
building or behind? Oh, you're behind. Okay.
Yep, in the building. He might have got ran behind, but he just dropped your parachuting.
Okay, I'm with you. I'll cover the left side here. He's probably, if he's smart, he's straight down the hill. Helicopter? Doesn't
I think
see
he
us.
went in the building. The door here is open.
Okay.
Oh, he's right here. Got him.
Did you take him down?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Oh, one more up here. Oh, he's super low. Oh, I love the Gulag
It's in the gulag.
mechanic.
If they
It's so
survive,
good.
they deploy.
I don't want this. Oh, third. Oh, I was reloading. It was the third guy. I was convinced we had two. All right, Gulag time. Yeah, Gulag is an excellent. I tried to report that guy as better than me, but I was unable. Yeah, I wish you could. You could like, dude, I'm covered reporting because you have more skill.
This is the gulag.
Yeah,
Survive
battle
and
royales are
deploy.
interesting because they're great games, but they're not necessarily yet great.
This fight and you return to
collegiate
the front line. But if you
esports.
lose, you're
Right.
done.
And I think that's something in general that
Time breaks them.
collegiate esports as a whole is really struggles with, is being like, okay, what games do we want to offer to students that not only are they playing, but we can also provide, that spectator-friendly environment so that we can, create a fan base through it.
Oh, dude, again?
Oh, unlucky. There's a whole team right outside there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna make fun of you for missing
No,
the
this,
space bar again.
this wasn't me falling this time.
Yeah, so the people always ask me, and I had students come to me the same way and say, "Hey, are you gonna do Apex? Or are you gonna do, are we gonna have a name it team?"
Right.
Valorant most recently, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit too.
yeah.
But what's the, how are we gonna get that? For goodness sake.
I'm rubbing off on you.
I gurged it, is what I did.
That's it.
All right, we'll queue up again here. All right, yeah. I mean, what do you always say after the first hard loss? All right, warm-up game. Warm-up
Yeah, exactly.
game. We
Well,
got this.
Yeah, after the first loss, after the first 10 losses, they're all just warm-ups.
Yeah, we're
for
just
the,
warming
the
up.
inevitable
All
win.
right, I'm feeling
Right.
it now. I'm ready to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but
And then
I
when
mean-
you win one, you're kind of warmed up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now we're rolling. We're rolling. But the idea of how to add a game, it's like, I get emails all the time from kids. Hey, I'm interested in a scholarship in Call of Duty, or like, I don't know who you should call, because
Right.
that's not really a scene yet. I mean, it's the same question as Fortnite is how does Boise State play UT Dallas, right? In a meaningful way, the same way schools would play basketball or football or volleyball, right?
Right.
We don't have that. Oh, you left my party.
I don't think I did it on purpose. Here,
Oh,
shoot me another
I'll
invite here.
invite you. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, and I think that's something as a whole. I know I've personally struggled with, and just trying to really enhance as much as I can. Is I get those same messages all the time. Like I'm a Mortal Kombat player, I'm a Rainbow Six player. The reality is, we want to create an environment where anybody can feel like their game can be represented at a high level, but at the same time, we have to create opportunities for viewership. We have to create opportunities so that people tune into our matches and follow us long term throughout the course of the season, while also having the support of the developer behind it, which is super important for the longevity of any of these
Form up
collegiate
while you
leagues.
can. We
Yeah,
deploy
it
soon.
is super important in the in the hierarchy of all of it. Is can we do this? Because we've all seen the problems associated with publishers
Hostile dropping into the area.
You
Watch
know.
the skies.
who really don't make tools available or opportunities available.
It did not let me join your game. I got an error message for some reason.
All right, let's hop out.
Let's
We're
try this again.
still in the warm up anyway.
But yeah, I don't. But on that note, I'm actually pretty excited for the future of Valorant. I think I don't really know what's going to happen, especially with Riot taking this quote unquote hands off approach. But I think we've never really been in a place before where the game came out and instantly we knew it was going to be huge, and that it was going to be like, there was going to be tons of leagues and there was going to be lots of support for it. Oh,
It
did
bumped
not.
you again.
I don't know. Oh, there it goes. It says, I think I'm in the party. Oh, no, I'm not.
All right, we'll
Let
cue
me
it
try to
up here.
join you here. Oh, I think I'm in now.
Sweet. Nope, you left my party. I'll join you. We'll try it that way.
Okay.
So
I
you're
don't know what's going on. Hey, there we go.
well. I think I mean without insulting the publisher, this game is really cool but scuffed. So
Yes. Yes.
it's got some issues. So
At least it's free though.
yeah, so Valorant is an interesting one because immediately I had a bunch of my Overwatch players say, "By the way, I'm switching to Valorant." And I'm like, "Friends, okay, happy to support what you do, but we don't have any scholarships budgeted for that." Well, what can't I just
Right.
take it with me? Kind of no. So because we have we have obligations, and to your conversation tonight, we've committed to trying to build good teams to win in certain titles. We support Rainbow Six, but it's not a varsity. It's not a varsity game. Those kids aren't getting grade checks, but they can play as Boise State in appropriate leagues. But it's not this big organized endeavor like Collegiate League of Legends, like Collegiate Overwatch, or even Rocket League.
Right.
That have these full supported pieces. What games would you say are your highest support level games?
I definitely would say the usuals like League and Overwatch and Rocket League. Actually, for us specifically at UTD, our Smash team is massive, and it was
That's
one
such a
that
cool game.
it really is. It really
Yeah.
is, especially with the crew battle format. Really creates a fun environment. But when I originally started, we only had and Overwatch, and added from there. But when I was looking to add games, I mean, Smash constantly came up from people, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that DFW is a very strong Smash community.
Yeah.
Especially like right around campus, we have a local tournament every single night. So I
That's
think
insane
because of
cool.
that, oh yeah, it's super helpful. And so I think because of that, the students really latched onto the idea of it, and it just kind of took off from there. And I honestly wasn't sure how competitive a team we were going to be, especially because in Smash you don't get to play against some of these players in other states because the online is just not workable. So
Yeah.
luckily our team, we ended up going all the way and winning the championship, but that was solely off of
So
us
cool.
just finding the students on our campus that were interested in playing and kind of just going from there.
It's its niche thing. Yeah, but because you're able to do that, you found players that play it and you have a good community. Now you can kind of recruit for it if you decide to
Right.
make that a major thing of what you do. Um, But so you have been tasked, as you know, you come in and you organize this whole effort. You've been tasked to add structure to a training program that is in lots of ways unstructured, right? Historically unstructured. You know, it's like, yeah, we've got to practice, or imposing, you know, kind of minimum preparation expectations within a game. You know, it's like, hey, you haven't played the game in 6 days, and you expect to start tonight in our quarterfinal match.
Right. Exactly.
We can't do that, right? So how did you give structure to something that's largely
Take this
unstructured?
time to warm up.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is number one, using other programs and just as much resource I possibly can. And I'm a very firm believer, constantly trying to learn and constantly just trying to get as much information as you can. You know, and I think that's just really important to be able to create that infrastructure in the first place. It's just identifying that, okay, what have other successful programs do, or what do other successful people do, and how can we emulate that but make that specific? And I think the other thing is just willing to take risks. You know, again, because collegiate esports as a whole is so new, and like you said, the infrastructure just isn't quite there yet to, you know, that of traditional sports. You know, just a lot of trial and error. You know, give things a shot, see how they go, get student feedback, see what they think about it, and just keep trying and trying until you improve slowly over time as much as you can.
If other people are talking about you, it's impossible to compliment yourself. But if other people are talking about you, what would they say your greatest accomplishments have been in building out the program at UT Dallas?
Sure. So I think it's tough to say. I think the two big things I definitely would say, number one, just being able to create the program essentially from nothing, and just kind of being able to create, you know, a program that's being able to have success just from, you know, pretty much literally nothing from its start. But I think the second thing is a big thing that I take a lot of pride in is the fact that I'm able to create a lot of students, or a lot of opportunities for students, and a lot of post-graduation opportunities. So I mean, we've already had about 6 or 7 students in the 2 years I've been there get internships or full-time jobs with esports organizations right after college or during college as a result of being as a part of the esports program. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can do is use this experience that they're getting in our collegiate esports world to be a resume builder, to be like, okay, look at this experience I have pre-graduation. Look at all this time I've spent doing these esports structured things, and look how that makes me a great applicant.
Yeah, I mean, those folks, what kind of gigs are we talking about? What have they been able to kind of find for themselves?
Sure. So I'll even be specific. One of our students, Lindsay Caudill, is one of the social media managers for Dallas Fuel.
Oh, nice.
Another one of our students ended up being one of the marketing managers for Fan Guru. Was helping out there for a while. We have some that have gotten positions at Gearbox, you know, doing whether it be game development or game structuring. So those are a couple of the examples, and I think a lot of it is like they've used the experience they've gotten from our program to be like, okay, well, I may be a fresh graduate, but here's what I've already done, not even being in the workforce yet.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, we're talking about two things. One, consequential participation, and you know, where they're actually doing something that is something, right? It's not just a paper about something. Right. They're actually doing a thing. And by the way, I forgot to compliment you on pulling your parachute at the right time. That was
We're
impressive.
learning.
It was impressive.
Glad we're right with you.
I'm like totally confusing you with all sorts of questions, and you're like thinking deeply, and all you got to do is hit the space bar.
An assault rifle.
Well, okay, I like that. So if people are giving you props, they're giving you props for helping, you know, helping folks find the next steps in their career.
Yeah, and I think even if they're... I won?
Target down.
I'm on them. Oh, he saw me and bailed. I don't think that was a team wipe.
I think so either. This guy didn't go all the way down. But I think even if they're not sure what they want to do, I think collegiate esports has to be a way that students can. Oh, there's a truck right here.
That's my favorite weapon. The truck.
Down one.
Nice, you're crushing it.
Target down.
Hopefully I can
Got
get
'em
back
all.
in time. NBD.
You've got gas moving in.
I grabbed a weapon with exactly no ammo in it.
I've got you.
So that's pretty pro.
Yeah, that's not ideal. But I think at least allowing students the opportunity to explore the world of esports and to see like what their possibilities are, and how it doesn't, you don't necessarily need a degree in something specifically. You can kind of be flexible to kind of get what you want.
Let's go.
Oh,
Yeah.
got him.
Nice. Dear goodness, you're just. Thankfully, there's a my-size seat in your backpack.
We're in safe zone.
Seriously, crushing it. This has been cleared.
Mark out, I'm going.
It was the warm-up game.
Exactly right.
I'll drive. Let's move.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Do we have it? All right.
Hey, this guy's under attack.
Yeah, I think
Heading
we
this
should
way.
look at that building if we can. Oh yeah, here we go. I live in Alberta. Okay. That's the name. This truck is
At least he's
half
open
health,
about it.
so I'm probably not gonna go hyper aggressive with it. Although the truck is my favorite weapon. 100%. I'm getting
Really?
pings in this. Yeah, somebody's right there.
Enemy movement.
Oh, I got downed. Oh, whoa, oh, there's a guy on the roof. Oh yeah, there's two up there.
Can you crawl
Your
toward me?
teammate was
Oh,
sent to
yeah.
the gulag. You'll
I'm
fight
already
for a
dead,
chance
dead.
to redeploy.
Claymore set.
I can buy you
Enemy
back.
soldier incoming.
Ooh, okay.
I'll buy you back quick. Cracked armor on one with my. Whoop, I'm taking it.
All right.
Your
Oh,
teammate is in the gulag now. If they survive, they redeploy. Your teammate has failed.
Okay,
They
I'll
return
buy
to
you back.
base.
I lost my gulag fight.
I'll buy you back. I got you. There are two guys right here fighting with somebody else. Bought you back before I went down. But don't save me.
Okay.
Go somewhere else where you can get some value.
Redeploying to
What?
the AO.
Oh no, they're waiting. They're milking this for one more elim. Yeah, good. They thirsted me. I'm good. All right, let's see how I do here,
This is
gulag
the
wise.
gulag. Survive and you can redeploy.
Oh, damn. I'm
Here we
right to
go.
the party, unfortunately.
Get ready to
Dropped
fight.
right into
You're
somebody.
next.
Yeah. And you'll clutch it out with a gulag win, I believe.
Oh boy. One of my favorite things to do is to paint my opponent. They're so much easier to see.
Win this fight and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. Earn your
I
way
can
out.
watch you, alright, sweet.
Got him.
Stand by for redeployment.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're good luck on my gulag fights here. All right.
Hey, we take it.
I think prom
Heading this way.
east might be the safest to try to get some quick money and pick you up. It was off the flight plan, original flight
Got the
plan.
drop bag inbound.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think our Alberta friend has seen the end of his
All that's
days.
left.
Yeah, I
Get
think
things
so.
done. Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
Oh, there's some guys on that building. We're not going there. Come on, drop in the hole. There is money up here. I can't stay long.
Yeah, I love that Warzone has taken so many different things from like all the battle royales and kind of. I mean, it really does definitely feel unique in a genre that has been pretty oversaturated the last kind of couple of years.
Yeah.
But it definitely made a unique style, that's for sure.
I mean, Fortnite, you know, definitely had its, you know, kind of thrust onto the market. We joked for a little while that we were going to get a Rumble Royale team going. And we were, you know, like half inspecting it because we were hopeful that that High Res was going to do some cool stuff with it, right?
Right.
They didn't necessarily get to that point. I mean, it doesn't mean that they weren't interested in it or weren't going to. They just
Right.
It just didn't happen for us that way.
Gas is inbound.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of it is being able to generate enough. You know, I was watching some documentary the other day that was talking about the negative aspects of game design and how we live in such a I believe in the clutch.
Ah,
Oh, it was close though.
yeah. I thought if I could down the first one, I could win that fight. All right, I blame it on Alberta.
It's just a warm-up game.
Exactly, it's just a warm-up game. That's all we're talking about here. All right, no matter what, next one we're getting into the top 15. So, no matter what, I know it.
All right, sounds like a plan
I
to
already
me.
have a good feeling. Yeah, I mean, you know, as we talk about the good games and stuff like that. Okay, so I was at, you know, your top games, your highest supported games, and you support everything that you do. But when you talk about your like marquee varsity games, let me give you some criteria. One that you are actively spending lots of recruiting time for, with apologies to Mortal Kombat folks, right? That may not be your biggest recruiting pool. That your institution sees as a sign of, if we're good at this, then we're being successful. And games that you feel comfortable like introducing all of the potential partners, the administrators, you know, those kind of games that you rally around. We can assume that Rocket League is one of those because it is for everybody, right? It's cars playing soccer.
Right.
It's the least offensive. I've never had anybody come to me and go, yeah, but I mean, shouldn't these cars be electric? You know, and we're really sending the message we want to send.
Yeah.
All right. But what would you consider your marquee games, the ones that kind of tick those boxes?
You know, honestly, I think the four games, the League, Overwatch, Rocket League, and Smash, I think all are up there. I don't necessarily think one is prioritized over the other for us personally.
That's a nice little collection. Yeah.
Sure. I think they've all had their individual benefits. I think
Check your gear.
well, you know, kind of breaking them down a little bit. I think the nice part about Smash, comparably to Rocket League, is it's an easy entry-level game. We actually did an event on our campus where the president of our university came to an event and played against one of our Smash team members in a game of Smash. And it was very entertaining to watch, very entertaining. But you know, I think games like that tend to be easier for the advocacy part of our job, mainly because everybody plays them at one point or another, and they're just super easy to pick up and go. But you know, comparatively for like Rocket League, League of Legends, and Overwatch, all of those have helped us form rec leagues through our program as well, because we have such a strong student population that just loves playing those games in general. And because of our existence within those games on that level, we've been able to create more of a community around it, more opportunities for students in general. And so it's kind of helped a lot, you know, having the nice repertoire of the casual with competitive side games like Smash Bros. And Rocket League, with also the super high competitive games like Overwatch and League.
You talk about the super competitives. You know, those are like a pretty legit scene. We got a couple dropping on Superstar with us.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the back side of the building here.
Okay. I'm gonna drop with you. I did break some armor on a couple of folks.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Primary objective is to eliminate all targets.
Yeah, I think the nice part about the higher competitive games is you start to see a community across all of the collegiate scene around that game. I mean, even League, even specifically, I mean, the amount of just community support and community interaction around the existence of League at a collegiate level is huge. I mean, there are so many podcasts and Discord servers and stuff just about collegiate League that I think it really gets a lot of value.
It's probably the highest one. I mean, to Billy's chagrin at Testbum Blizzard, you know, it's been around longer. I mean, I think you have to remind people of that. So it's gonna. Whoa.
One down in here.
Are you upstairs?
I'm downstairs.
Okay.
I'm gonna heal myself really quick. I think it definitely helps Riot that they only have one game well, as of right now, or before, only had one game to manage. So I think the fact that Blizzard is able to kind of create that infrastructure across like all of their platforms is really nice. Especially that they support it on all of their games for the most part, some more than others. But I think that helps to kind of, I think they have a community because they all participate in TESPA, but I think the League aspect is they have a community because it's all around the same game. And it helps to kind of build that closer knit group of people when you already have that, you know, one game, everyone's here supporting it.
Yeah, their model is a helicopter overhead. Is a good and successful one. Do you wanna venture out and see if we can't get that?
Sure.
I mean, we can stay and try to fight who we want here. You get knee limbs like crazy. Oh, that's our teammate.
See anybody?
No.
This might be the rest of the party that down the one guy from.
All right, I'm coming in back door here. Loading dock. They're really low. I'm down.
Got one.
She's down. She's down. Right there.
Oh! Our teammate might clutch it out though.
All right. Hopefully they'll pick you up. I'll gulag this thing.
This is the Gulag. Survive and you can redeploy.
This person is clueless about how the Gulag works. They're shooting people who are watching. Did you guys clutch it out? Did he pick you up?
Win this fight, you return to the front line.
We might actually.
Oh, he's down.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
time.
still up though.
Break some.
Nice.
Might.
You outside. Get to the safe zone.
Oh, what a
goodness
top
sakes.
group.
Sending you back to base.
I spent all my ammo.
Your team can still buy you back if they have some money.
All right. Gulag time for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the combat style of Call of Duty in general. I just think it feels super rewarding. The gunplay, that is.
Yeah, the hit marker sounds have always been really rewarding. The sound design in it. People, don't give enough credit to sound in good sound design in games, but
Right.
it can be some of the most rewarding stuff. A lot of
Agreed.
my,
especially like.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say a lot of my early career in educational games was, identifying the pieces that that were addictive and attractive. He's mid. Nice. Nice.
Hey, all right. So how much do I have to get here to bring you back?
You need to get 4,500. So.
All right. We got some work to do.
Yeah, find some unlooted area. You'll find it pretty quick. It seems to know when you need some money. And I'll be that guy who just relentlessly spams the res me button.
Someone's got to do it.
So you feel like you've got your prime questions for tonight for the highly competitive folks?
I do. I think the nice part is that you have a lot of opportunities to highlight what programs do differently from one another.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that often gets overlooked. It's obviously important that you're talking about just the aspects of what works and what doesn't work and strategies. But I think at the same time, you have to highlight, for some people, that stuff that works in other schools just won't work. And you have to really, let's see.
No, they went out. Looks like they went out that window, too.
And I think being able to highlight, what makes individual programs successful is so important. But taking that information and designing it for your school specifically.
Yeah, I mean, because we're honestly we're all different.
Right.
Somebody I think commented on Mark's Twitter today. I'll even look it up, because clearly I'm not providing much to this this matchup at the moment. I'm just needing you to find some money for me. But it wasn't a bad question. It's just a question, one of those questions that I don't have a lot of confidence can be answered well, because it's I'll read it to you and you can react.
Sure.
Reaction. I'll just search UCI Kaboom.
I'd love to just be referred to as Gerg7. I think that'd be pretty funny. I don't think that's I love always hearing professionals in the industry refer to themselves in their associated gamer tags. Always gives me a laugh.
Oh yeah, so the comment was, I'll check it out. Curious to see the topics and how deep it goes into some of the, and I'm going to air quotes here, important needs of college esports to grow and truly establish their footprint parallel to professional esports. So, yeah, I mean, in your mind, how closely is college esports need to be aligned with pro esports?
I think to an extent. Oh, we got just some fat bucks. I think there has to be a healthy relationship of some kind. Oh, nice. All right. I think I have enough now.
Okay, I'll start spamming that button. I'll get your loot box if you need it. Don't Okay. I'm secondary to your needs. I'm here for you.
I think there has to be a healthy relationship. I think the concept of, at its basic level, I think the concept of path to pro and collegiate, it just doesn't work in the current time.
Not as a one-way street.
There we go. Right. I think there's opportunities for it back and forth. But I think the biggest thing is just creating a healthy relationship between the two. I mean, even over the last month, we've seen Florida Mayhem partner with their local collegiate programs. We've seen New York Excelsior. We even saw NACE has partnered with NALCS to create a partnership there. So I think it has to be a healthy partnership between the two and an opportunity for students to kind of either look to pros as a possibility, whether it be via coaching or playing or another outlet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, collegiate also needs to be an option for these pro players that, I mean, because really the pro collegiate career or pro esports career ends when you're about 25, 26, usually at the latest. So having options in the collegiate space through the platform of esports that you've been so successful in, kind of helps to create that path to pro and the more connections that we see.
Yeah, and the idea that path to pro only means player, because the truth is,
Right.
I mean, Dan's a great example. The path to pro is wherever a profession leads you. It's coaching. It's being an analyst. It's being a manager, an organizer. Okay, helicopter coming.
Got the kilo. Check it out.
It's kind of.
There's a car over to the left too. I'm gonna try to get another gun for this.
Okay.
But I think having that pipeline as availability and just something for people to consider, at all is just really important. Because the two are even in traditional sports, even for those that don't get drafted, I mean, they still look for outlets to be in the pros of some kind, or amateur leagues. And I think there's the nice part about collegiate is that it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Comparatively to that of like amateur leagues, which have had, I mean, even Contenders for Overwatch has had a lot of problems getting notoriety from Blizzard. Same with like all the amateur leagues in League of Legends. I know they had a lot of problems with scouting grounds and things internally that made it tougher. So I think being able to create the infrastructure because we're permanently existing and to create the infrastructure with the relationship to pro is super helpful.
Yeah, I agree. And that is the stability of the pro space, which probably doesn't really exist. True stability. I mean, with the exception of League of Legends, what's been around,
right?
At all. Not much.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the scary part about amateur and pro at any level is you don't really have the job security. I mean even comparing it to like you have one bad season on a team and that could be it. I mean you could be done. The team could drop you. But with collegiate, you're signing to that educational background or backing, I should say. That kind of you're there to get your degree, with the esports being an overall enhancer to your education.
I think about the conversation that I get to have with parents about it, and I've had a number of really great conversations with high-level players. I'm going to grab the contract here, mostly just so we know where one team is at least. And so they don't want any part of us because they don't want to mess with this duo right here. our third left. Oh, even better. Somebody else takes him out.
They're driving off.
Yeah, they don't want this. They looked right at the bull, saw the horns, and were like, nah. All right, we're at 22, so to get our goal of top 15, we got to outlast 7 squads here. Oh, they're right there. Oh, I tried to ping him, and instead I shot at him.
Oh, one on top of the building, in the window.
Your team is KIA. It's up to you now.
Can I get to you, or are you down?
I'm down.
Okay, I'm running away. We call this strategic engagement value, which is there is very little.
Pick and choose.
Right. One of our kind of core principles in preparing for matches is the general concept of never take a fair fight, right? All things equal, you have probably
Enemy UAV
not
overhead.
noticed something about them. So you want to always fight under the conditions that are most favorable to you, right? So right now there are 0 favorable conditions for me. Oh, there. See it for a second. This is not my favorite weapon, and everything's coming in. All right, I was hoping to get enough money here to bail your sorry butt out of jail, but all right.
I'll be driver.
All right. Oh, hey. 20 teams left. I think I'm going there-ish. Oh, this has not been looted. I don't have much time. If I can find some cash.
Nice, there we go.
A little bit. Always need one of those. I don't know why I jump out of windows as often as I do. It is not a healthy
feels good.
behavior. It does. Satisfying sound design.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So back to the, you know, the relative conversation of that you're going to have with these high-level guys tonight. I imagine, like all of us, we're happy to share certain, certain parts of our process. But there are things that are kind of secret sauce that we hold close to the vest.
Sure.
I'll be interested to see, you know, what they're willing to share, because all these guys come from, you know, really different backgrounds. I mean, Mark is basically a
Gas is closing.
kind of
Get to
an
the new safe zone.
administrative savant. I mean, he's been engaged in administration, and this was just a clever program originally for him. But it's become the thing he's known for. AJ working in basically it's not really a game design, but you know, you get the sentiment, right? It's,
right.
I gotta find $800 to buy you back, and I'm pretty sure there are people here.
Enemy team is tracking your position.
Oh, good.
Uh-oh.
It's like the game heard me and was like, oh, we know how to mess with this guy. But I just spotted, again, the best weapon in the game. It's the truck. I probably have more triple kills with the truck.
Losing ground.
Hey, almost the top 15 though.
We're gonna get there.
I'll drive. Let's move.
Yeah, I think it'll really, you know, I think at the end of the day, I kind of view opportunities like this as any information is good information. So even if there's things that they want to withhold, which I totally respect, that go into the further in-depths, I think at the end of the day, the fact that they're willing to do something like this shows that they also kind of support the endeavor, which is building the scene as a whole. Because the reality is, if your team is the best, or your teams are among the best in something that doesn't have a large following, well, it's not a whole lot comparatively to what it could be if there's a massive scene and backing behind it. So if the overall competition level of all the programs gets higher, and then you're still winning, it just goes to show truly how strong you are. Oh no!
Come back stronger next time.
Oh, 16! Oh, the game is taunting us.
So taunting us. I was so engrossed by your answer, I could not focus on the potential bad guys. We did have a couple of really good questions as we escape here. Let me see if I can read them aloud. You probably can too. Where did it go? Apex making a comeback.
I'm moving.
Yeah? It
Yeah,
is.
I mean, is it? Is it making a comeback?
I just read an article today that said this past season they saw their highest retention in player base than they've seen in any other season. And with the recent release of their new character, I forget her name, I think it's like Loba or something. But they've seen a high percentage of players coming back. So I think the nice part about Apex is it has a very Halo-style combat, which you don't often find in Battle Royales too much, especially with the abilities mixed in and things like that. So we'll see. I mean, I think the nice part is that I think they've taken the approach, which is to build a more casual community-based game rather than being like we have to go to the pro level, we have to go to the pro esports. So I think they're focusing their content and their game direction in that sense. So I'm hoping it does. I like watching it. It's entertaining to watch. So I'm hoping it kind of keeps this grind going.
Yeah, they've done good things. I mean, and honestly. I mean, stuff like the first MOBAs, Dota, they were not their best form in the beginning, right? They have come to be better. Okay, so a couple of comments in the chat here. Mike Holio, oh, you're leaving my party like left and right all the time.
I don't know how I'm doing that. Let's see.
I'll add you again.
Okay, sweet.
Although you can click on me and join, I think, anytime. And you left my party again. Whatever.
I think I'm in it. I'm in it.
We'll see. We'll see how long it stays. But I think it was Mike Holio was impressed that his coach of his alma mater, is hanging out with the coach of his hometown team. So
hey.
I'm glad we could bring it all together for Mike today. So,
that's great.
Aim assist was another question, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I'm going to start blaming aim assist on a lot of things when things go sideways. So when these guys are bringing in Kurt, who never really was on the coaching side, but he was definitely on the building and recruiting side and benefited from some. And he'll tell you this too, some absolutely great hires on his team who were connected into these different places. It helps Mark quite a bit to be where he is, but he also works really hard on finding and talking with players and trying to build good and competitive teams. And they've had good fielded teams, and they've struggled some years. I mean, their struggle, we would kill for their struggle every day. But they're also kind of in the cradle of esports, right there in Orange County. And with a blizzard up the hill, there's like so many great reasons to be a gamer and to go to that school. And they had, both of those guys had some of the first facilities. AJ has struggled a little bit with facilities. We've struggled a little bit with facilities. I know that Dan he's been unhappy with the facilities, and he's got like an upgrade to a different location, and he's happy with it, but I don't think it's like his dream location. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of hear their, kind of philosophy. I mean, there's always that point in the beginning where everybody kind of gives you their boilerplate, right? The conversation that they have at every, I do it too, at every conference panel, at every whatever, they say the things that they often say, and the longer you talk, the more you get into the nitty gritty. I discovered a long time ago, and you've got people that you commiserate with regularly too, is that in the end, I mean, we compete in matches against one another, but really we're all on the same team because we're competing against the other interests and attention on our campus. We're advocating for the same group of people, just in different locations. So
right, and I think. Unfortunately, the way it is, but I think at a lot of levels, success at any school justifies the creation and support of programs at any other school.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't tell you how many times when people talk about, oh, I want this program to be huge at my school. I want it to move to the varsity level, and they're like, I want to be like such and such. You always have the reference names for what you either want your program to be like or what has led you to make this decision that you want to move it to the varsity level. I mean, even schools like Arizona State have a, or even right down the road from us, University of Texas at Austin has the largest student-ran program in the nation, but
Right.
they can't even get a foot in the door to talk to administration.
Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of that, but when you start to recognize some of these other Division I schools that are starting to take the leap, um, you know, it definitely goes a long way, and you kind of have that name recognition to be like, well, if they're doing this and they're successful here, then maybe we can also be successful, and then in turn grows the industry as a whole.
Well, AJ will probably, maybe he'll mention this, or maybe he won't if you guys come on to facilities. But the number of times I have sent him pictures at his request so that he could use them in a meeting that he was walking into to generate, indignation. How dare Boise State have a, you know, uh, broadcast facility, right?
Right.
Say, he uses what we're doing to whip up his people, which is awesome, and I'll do the same, right? That comparative competition doesn't exist usually between the directors overtly, but does with the with the administrations. They're keenly
Right.
aware of what their competition is doing, and so we like to leverage it against them. What is that? What's your primary, I guess, you know, program competitor? I mean, who has the most traction when you're talking about what one of your neighboring institutions is doing? Who's your primary rival?
I, it's tough. I think there's the nice part about Texas is there's so many varsity programs as a whole. I
Yeah,
would say competitively, probably University of North Texas. Dylan Ray over there is doing a really great job,
Dylan is
and they've
awesome. Yeah,
consistently been. Oh yeah, Dylan's great. And they've consistently been very competitive with us, and they have a really nice infrastructure as well. University of Texas Austin, always the flagship, gonna definitely always be a lot of big competitions. We always have really close matches against them, and even though they're student ran, they have a great infrastructure going on over there.
and
And I'd say I think
Austin's a
go ahead,
primary
go ahead.
campus. They're burnt orange, right?
Right,
Okay, so yeah,
they are, yeah, the Longhorns for life.
Longhorns for life. Yeah, there are very few Colts that can register as much kind of commitment as Texas fans
Right.
can.
Yeah, but I mean, the nice part though is at least the University of Texas system as a whole has been pretty open to the idea. I mean, even University of Texas at Arlington, they hired a full-time staff member.
Yeah,
His name is Drew Boehm. He runs the program over there.
I heard
Does a
about
great
that.
job. Yeah, University of Texas San Antonio. They also have a varsity program that they got started up. So I think the idea that others within the system are starting kind of helps to generate that interest from other ones within the system.
So the ones
And
that
and
have
I
jumped.
think
Oh, go ahead.
okay.
No,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, I think the biggest benefit of that is it leads to local competition through the collegiate scene, and that's really where things shine because now we can have in-person events, we can have more lands, more tournaments to compete in that
Yeah.
aren't just highlighting collegiate as a whole, but they're like, look at this battle for Texas, which we've had multiple times. Look at this battle for Texas between these two Texas-based teams, and let's see the competition between them. And so you get a lot of locally based events that kind of create they take the already existing rivalries and existing kind of structures and put that into the collegiate esports scene.
It makes sense. Okay, if you could, and by the way, I don't know anybody, but say Warren Buffett just came and dropped a bag of money on the desk and said, "This is just for esports." Where are you spending it? Where are you spending your Warren Buffett esports lottery winning?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think number one would be travel opportunities for students. I think allowing students to go to these conferences that I've been able to go to, I think would be very beneficial,
Yeah,
especially for those looking to take it to the next step. Because I mean, it's great that I'm relaying the information to them. It's even better that they'd be able to see it in purpose or in person, excuse me. So I think that would be number one. Number two, I think would also being able to create more events for other schools to participate in through the UTD brand as a whole. And just being able to be like, look at these events that we're hosting. We'd love for you to come compete. Because UT Dallas as a whole is a Division III school, generally a pretty unknown school for the most part. But we have a lot of things that were highlighted, like our computer science program is really strong, which kind of led to the esports aspect of a lot of ways. So I think finding ways to put UTD on the map, having esports be as a highlight as that, is really important, and especially for the recruitment aspect. If we can really get our name out there in that sense. But and I think just ways to kind of enhance the facility. I'm
All
very
right,
big
yeah.
on trying to up the production.
Okay, so
Yeah.
where,
I
where are
mean,
you spending your
yeah.
money? So okay, we'll call
Go
of
ahead.
your million, 150,000 of it's on travel for
Sure.
students. Then what are you buying?
Well, I mean, honestly, I would love to have a production facility like you guys have over at Boise State. I think it really is. To me, it combines the two most important things which collegiate esports need is, number one, a dedicated fan base that has people viewing and tuning in, and number two, giving students real life opportunities through esports. I mean, they get to run an entire production program, the casting, the setup of everything from it through their collegiate program, which is not something that you see very often. I mean, even in like Big Ten and other traditional sports conferences, I mean, it's not students running those programs for the most part. I mean, it's really they have hired staff that come in to do that. So I think being able to create a facility that allows for students to do that, and to kind of get hands-on, hands-on, but like professional experience would be so huge.
Yeah, it really is a difference maker. I mean, the students that we've graduated that have gone on to jobs. Actually, there's a guy in your area that you'll get to work with quite a bit more, Paul Vaughn, who's at Oklahoma City University. He's their esports. He's their head coach, and he was in our program. And one of the things that really helped him solidify that position was that he had experience in all the areas they wanted, including the broadcasting piece. But
Right.
that's a good one, because honestly, you can't really trust anyone to do your messaging for you, right?
Right.
It's hard to attract long-term sponsors and donors if there's not some piece of your inventory, not a logo on your jersey, that you can offer them that continues to provide meaning. There's an emotional attachment when they first do that, but then you have to be able to prove it, or replace them going on. And it's with love to the HyperX and Corsair and everybody who makes everything. They're not dumping money into any collegiate programs. They're giving us a little bit of a discount, which is why they dumped money for Mark and Kurt, and
Right.
those in the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that the nice part about, especially from the production highlight aspect, is if you're able to really up the level and give students opportunity, others across campus want to get involved. I mean, even kind of referencing, I know Utah uses their Twitch channel for their traditional sports quite a lot. They have like a coaches show that they have on there weekly. They have like weekly reviews and highlights of events and things coming up. But because they're able to do that, and I think when esports is able to kind of propel other activities across campus and other organizations across campus to be more successful as a result of esports, that's really what we're looking for, that all campus encompassing, multifaceted program.
Yeah, AJ's done a lot of good work with that coaches show. We've even done some stuff during our COVID spring break here with other departments that couldn't put together their own thing, right? We were a TV station that would help them out, and that goes a long way. So cool. All right, let's
and I think the
keep talking.
The
We'll
last thing I'd spend my money on would probably be full-time staff members for each game. I think that makes a big difference. But I think anybody at this point would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
But you do what you can with it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody's got a different, the money comes in a different way. Some have access to space, some have money but no space. It's
right.
Some have autonomy where they could bring in whoever they wanted. Others have to go through really rigid. It's different everywhere. So, when I see a comment like this, is like, can we finally get colleges, in the grand term, to come together and agree on this one thing? That's like, well, I don't know what world that is, but it's not one I'm familiar with, because everybody's different,
Right.
And there's no glory in an old idea. Everyone has to have their own innovations, their own
Right.
Way of doing things. All right, we're top 15 or bust here is what we're doing.
This is it.
This is it.
16 was the warm up. So.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So, as far as you've collected. I mean, you've been connected with NACE, but you also put together this other group of people who weren't necessarily connected with the big national organizing body, and you brought them into your own Discord. Have you had to settle more fights than you thought you would?
I actually haven't had to settle many fights at all, luckily. I think the nicest part about the server is I always get a very strong feel that people are just in there to learn and ask questions. And so because I think we don't necessarily label ourselves as like a governing body or kind of just host tournaments there just for fun to get people a chance to play. I think it's kind of led to that more open and like people are just there to learn and kind of express their ideas and opinions on things. I also think it's nice to really get. I would say the server has a lot of students that participate in it on that, and I like that a lot, mainly because we're about the students. And if we're not doing it for them, then who are we really doing it for?
And they really don't have a
structure.
So
I think being able to hear, exactly, and being able to hear their input, being able to hear like, well, I'm really struggling with these things. We want to go varsity level. What would you suggest? We've had a lot of those discussions, which I think kind of goes a really long way when, like we said before, students are trying to say, well, X and X did this, and so this is how they, it can help us do this as well.
All right, where are you feeling? Our guy likes.
I'm cool with that guy. I'm cool.
Oh,
with that. Yeah.
Where'd he pick? It was
that
me.
you?
It's me who accidentally clicked there. Yeah.
I'm all right with the Promenade.
Get ready.
Is it too far? No.
Nah.
Enemy movement. Target spotted.
What's up, Mike? I'll give this guy some voice support. But yeah, actually not. Luckily, haven't had to put out too many fights or too many fires. I think the biggest thing I personally struggle with the Discord server is consistently trying to put out resources that I think are helpful. But I think at the same time, anything at any time is better than nothing. And so even if it's something where you like, you go like 3 to 4 weeks without, a lot of stuff going on. Well, if you have something at the end of those 3 to 4 weeks, then that's still something. And at least it's providing value, however it can. Oh my gosh, I did it again. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. We're gonna have to have a conversation.
Am I SOL?
No, I can get to you.
Esports director, by the way.
Yeah.
If I can inch my way to you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, there's.
I can't believe my legs can't handle a 10-foot fall. Come on.
I'll start collecting money for when I gotta bail you out again. Said the guy who actually spent way more time dead last game than you did, and who ended our run sadly on a
team effort.
Yeah. I still blame me.
But I mean, even one thing I got a lot of value out was even just putting out the questionnaire for hearing what people were interested in hearing from the panel today. I mean, some of the questions were really, really, really deep.
Like what's a good example of a deep one?
Sure. One person was asking they said, I mean, they even got down to it. They're like, do you find value in programs? Do you find competitive value in programs going into the athletics aspect, or do you think the athletic aspect holds programs back in their long run, based on their traditional values? Yeah, and I that's things like that you often don't think about, especially because so many programs at this point, if it's athletics, if it's student affairs, if it's anything, they're just glad to exist on a varsity level. So I think now that we're at a point where we can start to compare where programs are most successful and like what aspects of universities, it kind of gets interesting.
It does. And how is it going to be used, right? How is it going to be used or utilized? Is there any responsibility to the other programs, or is your sole responsibility to your kids? I mean, that's just kind of a this hierarchy of importance.
Gas is inbound.
Are you part of a big community, or are you an advocate first for your players? And
exactly. And and where do you draw that line between wanting the university to have as much recognition as possible and to get their name out there versus supporting the program for the students all the way, and especially if a lot of money is being invested from potential sponsors. I mean, you start to run into those issues where you're like, okay, where do we draw the line? And I mean, even examples of like, I've talked to people who are coming in as esports directors or coaches, and they tell me, they're like, well, my university, before I even got there, decided we're signing with XXX Foundation.
Right.
That might require exclusivity. That might require specific things that the coach coming into it is like, well, we can't do this. This just greatly hurts our program and our students.
Yeah.
But it's the university in some instances putting out the money, so they really get to say in what they want to do.
Yeah, there's some shots over here. Our guy, Mike Boulevard.
Running on over.
I'm gonna grab the vehicle. I'm feeling good about what I might be able to do with this vehicle.
Right, let's move.
Alright, sweet.
All
We
right,
in.
Ben.
Oh, my bad. I jumped out. How do you switch seats? Is it V? Okay, we got
All
it.
right, Ben.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't see.
We're in.
Left shift for me. It's whatever you bind it to, I think.
Okay, sweet. But no, I mean, I think the goal with any panel, and this one specifically, is just to lead to meaningful conversations that provide insight. So people can be like, oh, I never really thought about that way, or it's interesting to see the unique struggles that programs have comparatively.
And everybody has their own. I mean, it's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No matter what, as pretty as it may look on the outside, there's always things going on the inside that everyone's trying to work through.
What's one part of your job that if you could just hand off to somebody else and never do again, what would it be?
And
you'll be nice and say, I don't hate everything.
as menial as it sounds, probably even something like just signing teams up for tournaments. Just because I get so many millions and millions of emails being like, "Don't forget your matches this weekend," and I'm like, "Oh, I from like every tournament website." So I think trying to divvy out that as much as I can, but at the same time, you got to make sure that they're going to show up for the matches and know where the schedule is. So sometimes with college students, that can be a little tough.
Yeah.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I saw what you just did. I saw you went down.
Your teammate has entered the gulag.
Oh wait, that was that guy. That was the other guy.
Oh, it was? Okay.
I think it was Mike Boulevard.
Oh, I wasn't paying close enough attention, clearly. All right. See how he does.
But what about for you? Same question. I'm curious.
Ooh. Well, let me give the political answer. No, I'm just grateful to be able to do what I do and impact the lives of my students. I have a little bit of fatigue with conversations that reference their esports involvement but are really related, for the students, to the stress levels they feel related to school. It's just the one thing they can control, right? So whether it's a look, we have to get this microphone issue fixed. I killed him, I think. Yep, I downed 2 guys right here.
All right, I'm on the way.
They're right there. Right there. Get them first. 3. 1 guy on the wall. I think they're going to thirst me. They're all up. They're all 3 of them are up. Yeah, I'm down. They got my money, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some fatigue in that, but part of it's just being, being patient and listening to just being the person who listened, right?
You're up next.
And often
Get
they'll
ready.
go away, but my desire as a lifelong teacher usually is to try to fix it. Like, oh, okay, here's what you need to do, but the truth is, listening is probably the best way to fix most things.
Yes, yeah. That's always something that we have. We're fortunate enough that we have about 20 student workers, 25,
Yeah.
about 20 student workers involved with all of our all of our production, all of our team management, things like that. And one thing I always ask is, I'm gonna watch you clutch this gulag fight here really quick.
Oh wow, now you just jinxed it, you realize.
Oh!
Behind me. Dang it.
Return to base.
Oh,
He was
nice
behind
try,
me.
nice try.
He was
We
behind
stuck
me.
around.
They'll buy you back if they have the money.
But one thing I always like to ask in the interviews with all of our students looking for these positions is what do you what do you do when there's a conflict? What do you do when a teammate disagrees, or what do you do when there's just an overall disagreement? And I always look for the answer, which is listen. Because I mean, you're right. 99% of arguments get handled simply by just listening to what the other person has to say.
I'm also pretty convinced that the future Hall of Fame. What? You had him?
I can't believe it. Yeah.
Oh, we were
He's a
robbed.
wise teacher.
The future Hall of Fame in collegiate esports is filled with people who are better at scheduling than anyone else. It's not going to be recruiting or fundraising. It's going to be, scheduling, because that seems like 90% of what we do.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. And and kind of an off topic, but sort of on topic. I've actually found a lot of people within esports, and especially collegiate esports, are former educators or former higher education experienced individuals, and I love that. I love seeing that connection because I think a lot of these people that, like you said, have to have a mind for the overall. The education experience helps a lot with that, because being a teacher, you really have to be multifaceted in a lot of ways with the students in mind.
And you kind of have to forget yourself pretty early in the process and realize it's not about you. Because if you make it about you, you're dragging all these other problems with it, people with it. I mean, it's a slog. If you make it about them, their interest, their pace, and things like that, it becomes, it's much easier in that respect. So, yeah, it's interesting. Because there's parts of every job. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. There's parts of every gig that are you're less motivated to do.
Well, it keeps kicking me. I'm literally not pushing anything.
What is this?
Maybe it's when I'm alt tabbing.
All right. So for folks who are watching, what time is that event tonight on the Discord server?
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. We'll also be live streamed too onto YouTube. And I'll be sharing that link around, so if anybody doesn't want to jump on the server and they just want to watch it online, they can do that. But if anybody wants to jump on the server and listen to the panel, it'll be at 7 p.m. Central. And there will be a chat on the server too, if anyone wants to ask questions mid-panel, that they can do that as well. So it'll be pretty interactive for the most part.
Nice. Are you gonna continue doing these types of events, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think the biggest thing out of these is I personally enjoy doing them a lot. So it kind of definitely helps. But I definitely have some coming up. I got one kind of a sneak peek. I don't know if you know him, but his name is Max Ketchum. He's the CSL Smash organizer, but he's also essentially one of the biggest Smash organizers on the East Coast of the U.S. And very big in the collegiate Smash scene. So someone just kind of interested to bring in and talk to about his ideas and things like that. But no,
Nice.
I just love having these discussions, and so I think being able to do more of them is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see what they have to say. I'm going to be tuning in. I'm excited. This will be good.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I love to
it's
hear. Should be
interesting
fun.
because as we mentioned before, I mean, these are really different dudes. I mean, all of them nice
Right.
guys who have been competing at the highest level. I mean, I think it's no mystery. Dan uses his connections, with E United and his world to get access to players and to say, hey, would you consider going to school? And he's trying to turn around a culture at Maryville that is, play until you get a better offer, go to school until you get something better, and turn it around to come here and actually get a degree. CC
Right.
struggled with that a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't really invite anybody from CC because who's there now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
with apologies to whoever is there, it's been tough. It was
Sure.
Drake, and then it's been a string of folks. But Dan is probably the one with both feet as firmly planted in competitive esports as anyone. So his
Right.
perspective will be fabulous. I've had the
Yeah.
I've had the great pleasure of sitting down to lunch with it wasn't even that long ago, maybe 6-7 months ago, with AJ and Mark, just having just we were getting ready to do a panel together, and we all went out and just
Yeah,
talked about
yeah. I
all
think
of it.
the one interesting thing about, I mean, anybody, especially those individuals, is you talk to them and they are so passionate about what they have to say.
Yes.
I mean, same for you. I mean, you really get that
Faking
feeling
it.
when you talk to them
Totally
that
faking it,
they
but okay.
care. But you really get that aspect that you can tell they really do care a lot, and truly not just want their school to be successful, but they want their students to be successful. And however they, with their experience, can help create that, they're gonna do anything they can to do that.
Yeah, and all of them face the obstacles of their own institutions that, in ways, stand in the path of progress, intentionally or unintentionally. That's what institutions kind of do, right?
Right.
Especially institutions like what's your student body? How many total students?
About 28,000.
Okay, so we're about the same.
Mhm.
Big schools are battleships, right? They're very powerful, but they turn very slowly. And so having big schools in esports is really, really good. They're just not nearly as nimble. I mean, you want to hire people.
Right.
It's going to take a while. It's going to, I mean, if you
Right.
decided today, I'm going to hire 3 people, it's going to take a year, you know. You got to have
Right.
all the meetings to identify the costs of,
At the least.
exactly. Are you going to adopt them yourself, or is there some other fund you can use? Probably not some other fund you can use. It's not part of your budget, and we're all tightening our belts now. But also, you got to send it off to comp and class. You got to develop all these documents of what it is you're really looking for. Even if you know the person you want to hire, it's got to be a national search. There's got to be a vetting process, then an interviewing process, then a committee process, and then there's an offer, and maybe they take it, maybe they don't. It's like, all I want to do is hire somebody, but battleships being what they are, they just don't turn.
Right. Yeah, I think that's not exclusive to esports either. That's a
No.
very secondary education thing across
It
the
is.
board.
Now, did you
you
teach?
definitely run into
Did you
that.
teach somewhere?
I did. I was actually a music teacher for 4 years
Oh, we
prior
talked
to
about
this
this.
position.
We talked about this.
Mhm.
Instrumental or vocal?
Instrumental, actually.
Very cool. And what's your
Band
instrument?
guy. Trombone player. Trombone player.
There we
always
go.
a brass guy.
Oh, see, I knew you were cool. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Yeah, I taught band for 8 years before.
Oh, there we
teaching
go.
at
Yeah,
the university
again,
level.
yeah, it's the educator connection to esports. It's super strong.
Yeah, well, so I think there are very few people that will understand this as well as you do, but I've always described, people go, how do you move from band to esports? And if you throw out the interest, I'm like, it's kind of the same gig, only without oboes.
Right.
There's, you're
Thank God.
organizing a group of individually talented people with various, degrees of ability, and you're trying to get them to work toward the same thing. You don't play a note in the thing. If they're really connected to what you're doing, they'll follow your downbeats. But that's kind of it. You know
exactly.
When the performance starts, you got to step back and and just enjoy it and hope that you've prepared them well enough. And really, the preparing the performance so that people can enjoy it, right? I think is a big part of it as well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly
for sure.
similar.
And definitely a lot of similarities, and I think you see a lot of similarities in also what the students want out of what they're doing in it as well. Yeah. They don't just necessarily want to be super successful. They also just want to be able to play something with their friends, and to be able to get that social aspect out of something that they're passionate about. Which a lot of people tend to not really bring into the light.
Yeah, I mean, they're maybe not as interested in the trophy as you are. Maybe a couple of them are, but probably not to the same degree that you are.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at it, even at a deeper level, I mean, the marching band scene as a whole, you have some high schools that are so super gung-ho about creating the most competitive high school marching band that they can, and then some that are like, well, we're just in it to play stand tunes and to entertain as much as we can. So I mean, even comparing that to collegiate esports as a whole, I mean, you see multifaceted programs that kind of have different objectives in their approach.
Yeah. Some are built entirely for CLOL. That is their season. I mean, they do other things, but really their identity is based in one particular game or type of competition. And they've developed real success there and people around them that are interested in that. And that's a good thing too. All right, Luis.
Yeah,
Luis is our guy.
Oh, he's like 5 times my level. I believe in the carry.
Oh, here we go. Let's go. All right, I'll quickly add my my push to talk so I can communicate with him as well. All right, this is our top 15. Period. No exceptions.
This is the run.
This is the run. I played a couple of weeks ago with Chase Baker, who's a former NFL player, one of our former NFL players, and we were streaming and kind of talking about this stuff, and I think it was our 3rd game in, we got a win, which it's kind of like do we keep playing or should we stop? What should we do?
Yeah, if you get that win, you got to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
You go till you lose.
Yeah. He bailed on us, but we may pick somebody up. I've seen somebody add. Woo! I feel bad for that guy. He just got set up.
Practice is over.
Sometimes you drop into these warm-up areas, and if there's a vehicle near enough, I'll just start running people over. Which is so lame, but it's so fun to see that.
The vehicles are fun, though. I don't blame you.
Yeah, vehicles are so cool.
They feel good, too.
Yes, they do. Okay, this is a little bit of a weird one. You want to look? You want to open storage town?
Point for your team. You'll lead them.
Sure. Yeah, I'm open with that.
Gas is closing on your position. Suggest you get moving.
Oh, I'm getting some weird. Let's see if it comes back up. All right.
Actually, on a very unrelated note, kind of going back to the question that was in chat earlier about aim assist.
Yeah.
When the new Call of Duty came out last year, our rec league on campus hosted a tournament, and the person that won was a controller. It was 2v2s, and the person that won was a controller player that played by himself. He didn't have a teammate, and he won.
Whoa.
and he said he attributed it solely to the aim assist.
You got to have some ability too.
Oh, of
To
course.
make something like that
Yeah.
work.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, he was one of like
Eliminate all targets in the AO.
3 console teams that signed up, and all of the console teams did extremely well.
You know, since it's easy to just suggest something and not do the hard work
Located the supply cache.
myself,
Secure that position.
I'll just recommend panels that you should have on there, and I think tournament organizers would be pretty amazing. Just get a group
Oh,
of
that
TOs.
would be a good idea.
When you mentioned the, you know, the guy who's been doing all the Smash stuff, that was my first thought. Is that'd be cool to have some TOs on there.
Yeah, I like that, especially thinking about the unique problems they've had to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, especially granted, you know, not even including anything with COVID, which I'm sure, you know, obviously you guys have had to, you know, deal with it like the rest of us as much as you can.
How have you guys already started working on your reopen plan for your space for your students?
Yeah, slightly. I mean, the problem is that our university has no official notice on what the actual plan is for, you know, you know, classes and stuff. You know, they don't know whether they want to go to full online, to be partial. I mean, they're still deciding it. But they've already openly told us they're like, esports room is going to be way different. You know, they're going to have like a max of 6 people in there at a time.
Wow.
In alternated shifts, somebody dedicated to be cleaning and taking care of maintenance aspects of it at all times. It's a really scary time, and especially because, you know, our facility is so new. You know, we really want to get in there and go ham on it. So kind of feel like it's, you know, impeding progress a little bit in that aspect. But, you know, like obviously the nice part about esports is that it's online, so we can make do how we can, obviously.
Yeah, it is all online. We were able to finish our season, as were you know, with the players at home.
But I mean, even like, you know, I mean, for a game like Smash that the online doesn't work, I mean, their season was, I mean, just straight up canceled. I mean, they literally did, you know, Riot was very nice in that they provided the scholarship money to the teams that were still in it, and obviously Tespa is finishing theirs. But I mean, for CSL and Smash, they're like, well, sorry, that's it, it's done.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they don't really have any options. That's all they have to do.
Enemy UAV overhead. Gas is moving.
All right, so let's make a plan here.
Contract updated. New objective identified.
I'm inclined to start heading in that direction. This is, oh, we're right by my favorite
An
building.
enemy team is hunting you. Stay alert.
That's you.
My favorite building is the old Pripyat Modern Warfare pool. This building right here.
Oh,
Okay, moving.
okay.
Remember that one from
Yeah, definitely.
Pripyat outside Chernobyl?
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. That was
Get to the safe zone. Let's go.
maybe my favorite version of the game.
Oh yeah, I used to play a lot of Modern Warfare. Especially the second one. Oh my gosh, I played so much.
Almost have enough money for a
Chest.
oh. I think it's on the roof here.
Yeah, I always love seeing tournament organizers and those within the industry playing other games. Like Riot Tiza always talks about DDR and his love for that and the scene around that. I always think that's super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like JT's willing to do this League of Legends thing, but really, you know, feet to the fire. It's all about DDR.
Allied cluster strike incoming.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
waiting for the collegiate DDR scene to take off.
Yeah.
Nice.
A helicopter coming in.
Enemy helo.
Actually down.
Oh, nice.
I killed someone.
I'll drive. Let's move.
Oh, there's somebody
Alright.
on me. Oh,
Oop, my
somebody
bad.
just shot this vehicle.
Oh.
The rocket.
I'll drive.
Jump in the back. I don't know how long we're gonna have on this vehicle, but
Yeah, not. Oh, I think it's glitching out. Oh, yep. Alright, we're good. I'm in.
all right, here we go.
Oh, to our right. In the building to the right.
All right, we're booking it out. We're at a disadvantage. You running purple bullets?
Yeah. Should I heal myself this way?
Somebody else. Yeah, we're on our last leg. Ditch here. Grab this other one.
I'll be driving.
Yeah, mine's glitching out too.
We evaded the enemy trackers. Good work.
Actually, let's go up top of this building here. They've got to come this way.
Cool with that.
And I've got a personal UAV.
Cannot reach the objective.
Oh,
Avoid
they're
the
on this
contact.
other building over here. Target resistant to marking, it
movement.
says.
Target spotted.
Okay.
So they must have got their loadout drop. Here they come.
Oh,
Enemy movement.
Friendly drop back
Enemy
on
movement.
oh, I hit him a couple times.
Enemy movement.
Nobody left on the building. There's two right here.
Going this
Oh,
way.
two more. The
Gas is
building right
moving
in front of it.
New safe zone located.
There's two squads there. Yeah, they're
I think they're fighting each other.
Yeah, they are. Coming back to the building.
Yeah, they're both on the. I think there's a couple on the south end of that building.
Yeah. I'm eyeballing
Eek.
here.
Oh.
They're gonna have to go somewhere. Oh, they're inside. Right here.
Enemy movement.
Back door.
Enemy UAV overhead.
By that car.
Let's see. Oh, you're running on the side right now. Got him. Hit him a couple times. Oh, I'm down.
Oh, he's up
Oh, there's
here
one
on the
on the
roof
building?
with us.
He's
Oh my
snuck
gosh,
around.
how much fun was that for that person?
That's a good play. That's a good play.
We were so engaged there. All right,
This is the Gulag. Survive and you
we
can
got to both
redeploy.
win our. Actually, for the first time, we might actually be in the same
Win this
gulag.
fight and you return to the front line.
Oh yeah.
true.
And if you lose,
You
you're
call
done.
out for me?
Earn your way out.
Hey, let's go. He is in the middle, running straight up the middle right now, opposite side of you. Oh, he's in your spawn, to your right.
Ah!
Fight.
Oh,
Pick up
nice
pace.
try.
All right.
Your team can
Now
still
you
buy
tear
you
'em up.
back if they have the money.
Nice. That's how you do it.
All right. All right. Let's see here.
Oh, you do have a loadout drop. Well, you're not going to get to it in time.
I don't think I would. Yeah.
There's a helicopter out of position over here, which tells me there's somebody right there. So you probably don't want to go there.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna head to oh, it's all looted, it looks like. Alright, time to get some money.
Well, concentrate on yourself first. So if you're cutting up a pie of your time into nice, there's a good chunk of time, categories of how you spend your time, right? This is your time pie. What percentage of it is the super creative stuff, like oh, I want to build this out, and we're gonna, meetings about this big cool thing we're doing. How much of it is like directly working with students, kind of prepping for games and stuff like that, and how much of it is just like scheduling, budgets, I would just say all the kind of the standard administrative tasks.
Sure.
Footsteps.
I'd probably say actually probably about 70% is the hands-on with students, prepping for matches and just overall, putting them in a place to be successful.
Side question: how many matches did you guys play last school year?
Oh boy. Oh, I don't even know if I have a number off the top of my head, but quite a lot. And nice part in that sense is that because there's so many varsity programs in Texas, that we've had a lot of local tournaments. Like we had a nice partnership with Dallas Fuel, where they ran a couple of events, which was pretty nice. But I'd say probably about 70 to 75% of it is really hands-on with the students, kind of just preparing for matches and putting them in a place to succeed. And then I'd say probably another, probably like another 15% is the paperwork, and then we'll leave the last we'll leave the last 10 for everything else.
The
right.
creative.
I think the creative tends to be it tends to turn into something that is over the 100%.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
But I would say I really try to put as much of my time into just making sure the students are in a place where they can succeed, mainly because I think, what they get out of it, in my opinion, is at least the most important thing. So if they're able to really feel like they put their best effort forward with the most support that they can get and gave it their best attempt, then I feel I feel that's our goal as much as it can be.
Okay, just throwing this out there. There are 25 teams left. You have to outlast 10 of them. You do not.
Easy peasy.
You do not have to revive me if it means.
No. You're getting revived.
All right.
You're the core of this team right now. I need you here. I'm gonna find that money. It's a little tough to find in already looted buildings, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, the best place to find loot this late game is on people.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go. Oh, another one. What?
2 confetti killers? Footsteps.
Alright, we got them. Okay.
They bailed. shut that door. Your chances are always better. He might have been
He's
solo.
dead, isn't he? Yeah,
I didn't
I think
see-
he went straight down.
Yeah, I think
Let's
he did
see.
too.
We got the money to bring you back, though.
Let's go.
Get there before it closes. We're gonna try. Oh no! Round 2.
Another truck. Spinning by you,
I'll let him go past.
as you should. There's one right here. It's kind of out in the open, but it's on the water side.
I think I can get this one. I think we should be alright.
No, you won't be able to. It's
Aw.
about to get covered.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh no!
That vehicle over there just ground to a stop. And that big truck
Boy.
is over there, so I'd wait. I'd wait.
Okay.
If you can get to the top of one of these buildings, you'll have an easier time
Sneak
crossing.
over here.
Oh!
I think we got 16th again. Might have been 17th.
18!
No! Oh,
Dang it.
I'm letting this down.
Not in the card city. I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget these. I mean, you let us down. And when I let us down, it was probably worse because it was we were going to be 16th, right?
True. No, that's alright.
We were about to
Hey,
be 15th.
Top 20 is a win for me. I consider that a dub. We take those.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, really, top 20 is the new dub.
Exactly.
Awesome.
You don't even need to win. Just get top 20.
Well, so thank you for hanging out. Thanks just for playing and talking. It's so nice to be reminded you're not on an island, you know, doing it all yourself, and getting to be able to do stuff, you know. I mean, how cool is it? We're broadcasting. We're just playing games, you know. You're there. I'm here. You know, it's crazy cool. So I'm really excited about this
appreciate you
event
having
tonight.
me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
I played with Kevin Reap not that long ago. Get a chance to hang out, play with you. Calling it all work. You know, I'm working today, so
That's it.
it's not
That's
real.
it.
It's not real work. But you're seriously, you're doing a killer job there. You slid into it and then you immediately started looking for people to help, as opposed to looking for people to dominate. And that's a sign of someone who's going to have a long and happy career in something that you get gratification and meaning from being helpful, from being part of a community. And that's not always the case with people in our industry.
Very true.
And so immediately I was like, oh, this guy, I like this guy. He's awesome. So you're doing killer work.
Thank you, Doc. I really appreciate it.
Your kids are amazing. I'm so tired of them beating us. We're going to work on that separately.
I feel like we always get paired against you in every single Overwatch event. Like every tournament, we're always playing you guys in like
and
round one.
I don't think it was ever 3-1. It was always. I mean, we always were in a third game when it was best of 3. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, every match we've had has always been super close.
Makes it even worse. It's like, oh, we're there, that close. I mean, we set different goals against some unbelievably high competitive teams we've had a chance to play. When we played Utah in Overwatch, we're like, okay, here's our goals. We're looking for fight wins.
Right.
Under the right conditions and not just by dumping 5 ults. We're looking for, the 22-minute mark versus UCI. That was a real goal. And let's do everything we can to just maximize. We're gonna lose some fights. They're probably gonna gank us, but let's not fall behind early in anything because we made just all those things that you set goals. It's nice to be in a good competitive match. You can usually feel good about those if you walk away and you don't get what you want. So, but it was awesome.
I love that.
So I'm really excited tonight. I will be there heckling and back channel messaging some folks, and you know, making AJ feel self-conscious about his hair or whatever. It'll be awesome. Thanks for
Sounds
putting it
great.
on for everybody. It'll be cool.
For sure, for sure. I'm excited. I think it definitely will be cool, and I'm excited you're going to be tuning in. And thanks again for having me on the show. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is